Now, I go from Christian Porter to Stewart Little, the General Secretary of the Public Service Association, who, like me, is greatly concerned by all of this. He's on the line. Stewart, good morning.
Good morning, Ray.
You've just heard what the Minister had to say. There's going to be some sort of wonderful involvement of the federal government which will destroy all the problems of the state government, whether it be New South Wales, Queensland or Victoria. I've never seen a government scheme run better when it's controlled by the federal government as opposed to a state government, depending on who the state or federal government is.
Oh, look, I couldn't agree more, Ray, and I think, the concerns that you've raised are certainly the same that have been raised with me by not only our members that work within disabilities in New South Wales, but also by, the families of the clients. And those issues that you raise, we hear the same reports daily. I mean, we've heard of an NGO up in Newcastle charging $200 for case planning, which is a 1 hour informal meeting over coffee. And more seriously, we've had a report of a therapist who visited a school for children with a disability, performed multiple consultations in a day, but then charged each student's account for transport, to and from the school.
I think we can agree, Stu, that what will happen whenever the government, be it this government or the previous governments, make a large sum of money available to organisations, be they private organisations or public service organisations or any organisation, there'll be a level of abuse. And what you've got to do is minimise the level of abuse. And what I can see with this big pot of money, $22 billion by 2020, outrageous abuse. And I think the minister's being a little naive if he thinks just by moving from state to federal he's going to all of a sudden destroy that abuse.
Couldn't agree more. And in the case of New South Wales, you're talking about $2 billion a year being tipped in by the state government. And I have to say, the discussions we've had with Ray Williams, the state minister, certainly haven't filled us with any joy. Oh, wow. And it's almost like they're putting up the old sign that you'd see, the old all care, no responsibility.
Well, I'd suggest talking to Mr Williams, you have to go a lot slower than you are at the moment, Stuart, for him to take it all in. He's not the brightest spoke in the world. I can give you the tip.
Well, he certainly hasn't, alleviated any of the concerns that we've raised. And look, without appropriate government oversight,
yes,
this whole thing is heading for a train wreck. There's no question that there needs to be appropriate, regulation in terms of. I mean, New South Wales alone, you've got 400 group homes. Thousands of clients within those homes, and that's just within the state part of it at the moment.
Are you getting the feedback as General Secretary of the Public Service Association too that all of a sudden people who are ill-equipped to deal with matters, like the matter with the 62-year-old intellectually and physically disabled woman at Blacktown, that these people are just being promoted beyond where they should be?
There's no question, Ray, that you've got people entering into the workforce without appropriate scrutiny, and there needs to be absolute scrutiny of anyone entering a home situation where you're looking after the most disadvantaged and vulnerable people in our society. And that case, I have to say, it disturbs me and upsets me greatly.
Sure.
And there needs to be appropriate safeguards put into place, and they should be regulated at the state level, we say, because they're the people who are equipped to do it. And they shouldn't just be simply washing their hands of it and putting up that, that all care, no responsibility sign.
Well, look, I think we're right, but I hope to God we're wrong. But I think we're right, and I appreciate your time.
Only a pleasure, Ray. Anytime.
Thanks, Stuart. Stewart Little, General Secretary of the Public Service Association, who has as many concerns as I have about this NDIS. And I know by the end of today, when I get home much later this afternoon, there'll be hundreds of emails from people citing examples, many more examples than I can ever do on air, about the deficiencies of the system, whether it's being administered by the state or the federal government. And I can't think of anything that is done by the state that all of a sudden can be taken over by the federal government and they can do it better. They can do it as badly or worse, but I can't think of anything they can do better. It's 13 to 10.